With this movement task, we'll start to explore, really bringing awareness to areas such as how can we improve connection through hands and arm, how to connect into the scapula, how to connect into rotation, and also how these connections that we produce through kind of scapula, arm, rib cage, and also connect into the lower limbs. So that kind of global awareness and that global connection, especially in those early phases of, say, start of backswing, and also then how that migrates into the start position. So just initially, when we look at areas such as kind of pelvis control, kind of glute med, glute mean, gets kind of much attention, right, in so many ways. But also the diaphragm is hugely influential on kind of providing and producing that pressure down into the pelvis to then allow that control through, for example, lumbar spine, pelvis, into lower limb. However, an area of also great awareness, for example, how they start to length change, both in very kind of different directions on both sides, and also provide control, is areas, say, through the adductors, those kind of tissues run to the inside of that thigh. So a wonderful way of just establishing initially connections through scapula, connections through tricep, connections through rib cage, into lower limb, into the pelvis, into those adductors inside of that leg. It's just to start with placing the hands inside the knees and having that very kind of conflict in some ways. Using the hands to push the knees outwards, but using the knees to push the hands inwards. To get that lovely engagement, that connection between the tricep into things like soleus anterior, lower trapezius, through the obliques, into that diaphragm, also then into the kind of the adductor. So once again, into that start position, hands in this position here. So something very much depends on very much the shape and size of someone's hands, and kind of thumbs touching outside the kind of lateral part of the hand into that knee. Push the knees outwards, but use the knees to push the hands inwards. So that lovely kind of conflict, which can really help create that awareness and control initially, just in that start position of lower limb awareness, control through the adductors, connection into hands and arms, connection into that kind of scapula. And then to advance that, as we move into that start position, cross the hands over, so very much kind of little fingers or the outside part of the hand, very much kind of pressing in towards each other. That lovely pressure, that connection, pushing those hands inwards. As we start to kind of rotate through the belly button, very fast, very explosive, very light. So using that belly button to produce the rotation, there's very short, fast, very explosive, very elastic movements. As we push and pressure the hands, as we start to move to that belly button very quickly and very explosively, start to kind of use that rotation through the belly button, keeping those hands pushing inwards, pressured inwards, compression inwards. So once again, the control through the rib cage, the scapular awareness through the tricep, into lower limb, through those adductors, and start to push that very, very powerful, very fast, very quick rotation. And again, it very much depends on the individual response. You may even then start to become aware of then how we actually get that connection into then, say, the ground reaction forces, that kind of pressure down to the feet. So become aware of is that kind of lovely connection sometimes we have in movement. It's almost, can we create feelings from our thoughts, and also then create thoughts very much from our feelings. That lovely kind of connection between the two. How can we get feelings into our thoughts, and also then how can we kind of get thoughts into our feelings? So once more, hands together as we start to rotate through the belly button, short, fast movements, that lovely connection through the scapula, through the tricep, into lower limbs, through the adductors, into feet. And once you've done that for whatever period of time you need, it could be 10, 15, 20 seconds, then just start to kind of take that start position, and then just start to become aware of then that connection, the awareness of, for example, tricep, scapula, obliques, diaphragm, into the pelvis, into the adductors, into that feet. So once again, that little cycle we can move through, into start position, hands inside the knees, use the knees to push the hands inwards, use the hands to push then the knees outwards. Up into start position, hands crossed over, typically kind of right hand on top of left. Start to really squeeze and push the hands inwards. Short, fast movements, let the rotation come to the belly button. Almost start to feel that pressure kind of spiral through the hands, up through the kind of tricep, into the scapula, into diaphragm, into kind of the adductors, down into lower limb. You can see my feet are really getting quite interactive with the floor. Short, fast, quick movements. And then once you've done that for a period of time, stop, let the heart rate come down, into start position, and then start to become aware of, and then start to feel that awareness through that whole connective kind of system, through the floor, through the adductors, into the diaphragm, through the scapula, into triceps, that whole body awareness, that whole body connection.